Betul Dogan Akkas now, who is in Durham in the UK, and she's an assistant professor on Middle East Studies at Ankara University. Welcome to you. My first thoughts upon, obviously the accusation, which they've not accepted at the moment, is that this was Israel behind the attack. If we work on that assumption, Israel, by killing the negotiator on the Hamas side, have they just ruined, destroyed any chance they have of getting back those hostages?
Obviously, this is the situation at the moment, and most probably this is not the most unexpected situation of the assassination. They not only ended a possibility of for negotiation, but also any future negotiation for sooner, maybe in a year or less than a year, for hostages or for future of peace in Gaza or any sort of ceasefire. So once, like Foreign Minister of Qatar, Sheikh Mohammed, mentioned in his social media account, this not only brought an end to a negotiation when you killed one part of the conflict, ahead of one part of the conflict, but also the hope of negotiation. Because once the idea of coming together for a potential for peace is not actually met by the parties, both parties, then what is the point of even trying? Because international community worked so hard to bring these parties together in the last 7 to 8 months. Qatar, Turkey, some other international organizations and states, including UN. And then what we have in the current situation is actually most probably an absence of ceasefire talks in the soon time.
Betul, if we look at the protests that have continued and one would say actually have grown in Tel Aviv from many family members, many people, Israelis, who are angry because they feel Netanyahu hasn't done enough to get the hostages back. I mean, Netanyahu must be aware of that the animosity towards him is only going to grow, perhaps because of this, and the suggestion the hostages won't come back. What do you think his plan is going forward?
So this is obviously a success for Netanyahu, not only for him, his political career or his career in Israel, but in general for the Israeli state, because they, so as you mentioned, there's a tension in the state because people are actually, civilians are looking for their families to be back from Gaza. But the priority of the strategy in the moment for Israel, obviously, is not to bring back hostages. What we see is actually they would like to go through further genocide in Gaza. Once they killed Haniyeh in Tehran, which means, once again, they are actually underlining their power, their military power, intelligence power. And when they do it in Tehran, they actually say even more. So this brings, again, an imaginary of an Israeli state who can kill any leader in any part of the world, even if this place is known being protected in higher standards, because now in Tehran there's a high security because of the ceremonies going through for the presidential position yesterday. So what's happening now is actually not only a message to local the politics. So okay, the hostages are important, but we have an aim, a target beyond it. So we have we need a policy for regional protection to make Israel immune from other regional attacks. So this is why I guess this assassination has not only an international or regional message, but also, as you mentioned, in terms of hostages, it has a domestic message declaring to the public that Israeli state is more powerful and can kind of act all these behaviors in foreign policy making without being questioned by any international organization or state. But then you may ask why they are not able to get hostages from Gaza, because obviously this is the strategy of Hamas in Gaza. This is how they do things. And if Israel was really eager to get them back, they could initiate negotiations in a broader way, and they could make sure that the genocide is going to stop, the attacks are going to stop, and they will be having their citizens back to safe home.
An attack on a top Hezbollah commander, an attack on the Hamas leader, all within 24 hours at a time when you've got many in the international community, even in the West and the US, telling Israel, you need to calm things down. Has Israel gone rogue now? Does it listen to anybody?
I mean, we have seen since decades Israeli policymakers, they don't listen international community, international organizations who are supposed to help for global peace or peace in conflicted areas at least. But for Israel, I think, as I mentioned previously, this attack, like killing the leader of Hamas, is important for Israeli national security and for their message to the world in terms of their power. But killing him in Tehran amid these negotiations actually declare how Israel manifests itself in the region. They manifest themselves as the power you cannot beat. Even with the attack after the 7th of October, which actually we all mentioned as researchers of Middle East, the myth of Israel was now cracked down because they had an attack from Hamas, etc. But Israel already re-established more myths about all these facts diminished by 7th of October. So for international organizations, Haniyeh wasn't a person who is legitimately representing Palestinian people, because Hamas is also defined as a terrorist organization in several states. So there won't be, I guess, any in the situations which can bring Israel any sanctions or whatever. But what the problem is now, there might be, of course, another leader for Hamas, because Palestinian movements, they have gone through these processes before. They have an experience in this. But when it comes to Israel, are they really, agreed on the fact that they will show to the world this is the Israel, this is the only Israel they have? They really don't know how to proceed for peace, or is this the target for their foreign policy? Because they could literally go away from the war and brought any perspective of Israel, because they are negotiating with the other Arab capitals. They have embassy in UAE. They have ambassador from UAE. So what is their perspective of Middle East? Is it diminishing the Arab capitals? Because what they done in Yemen, what they done in Beirut, as you mentioned, and now in Tehran, this doesn't look like they are eager to negotiate and talk through the other parties for peace. So I guess there will be more tension, and unfortunately also for the Israeli domestic politics. And we know there are people, they have been protesting for days, for months, to end the genocide, to bring ceasefire, to bring back hostages. Who are going to listen to them from now on? Because the state itself, underlined again, they have enough power to kill someone in Tehran without being questioned by any international organization or any state. So this will kind of bring 4 conflicts to already going on war in Gaza.
Mm-hmm. Betul, appreciate your time. Betul Dogan Akkas joining us there from Durham in the UK. Thank you. Let's take a closer look now at the international